Looking back at tonight's game, I mentioned about that it hurts, and it still does, I think, with our team as far as going through stuff. I thought there were some good things. I'll point out offensively. I thought offensively it was probably our most complete game of the year. I think Blake played very well. I really liked the mix of what we did. I think at the end of the first half, there was 27 plays, something like that, and there was 13 run and 14 passes. I think that helped us overall, getting the run game going, at least trying to establish it. But very pleased with the offensive line as far as protection and just the way they blocked in the run game. I thought, you could see it working up the second level, holding on their blocks, just creating some seams. I thought TJ played very well. Did very good in the run game, and his protections really showed up. And then with the receivers, obviously Allen Robinson played very well. Julius did some things. He was the second most targeted guy. I'd like to get him more opportunities. I know he got the one in the red zone. But just overall, very pleased with the offense performance. Special teams, coverage units, seeing improvement there. I thought our coverage teams did a good job. We're seeing more strain, and guys getting down the field, the accuracy, the hang time, things like that were good signs. So, as well as the coverage and the kickoff team. Kickoff return, Denard Robinson got going a little bit. It was good to see him. I thought he hit it very well. Punt return, Rashad did a nice job as well for the one that he had. Defensively, now the big thing is, I think that we come to understand that in this game you're going to have high-scoring games, and I think that when that happens, I go back to the Buffalo game. Defensively played very well. He's got to pick up the pace, hold on, and do some things, and create opportunities for the offense to come along. And there's going to be games like that. It was vice versa this game. I thought the defense struggled. Offensively, did some good things, although we started out 3 and out. Defensively, some of the things that we're battling in the third down and red zone, where I thought we made really good improvement offensively in those two areas. 71% in third down offensively, red zone 6 for 6. We didn't see that same improvement with the emphasis on defense. I think over the course of time this year that our defense has done a good job versus the run game. And I think the quarterback had a big run yesterday against us. But I think over the course of time, the run game, pretty pleased with how that's operating. The pass game continues to be a struggle. It doesn't matter if it's first, second, or third down, although it really shows up on third down. We're trying to figure out, it's all about rush and cover. And, right now we're not putting that together right now. If we've got to send more guys on pressure, it's hard for us to hold up with the coverage. If we're playing, with extra guy in coverage, then we're not getting the pressure that we need. So it's that. That's really the hard thing right now that we're looking at and trying to figure it out.
Options at middle linebacker?
Right now, it would be Tripp.
How do you feel he's come along learning that spot?
Well, he did good. The thing with him, we put him in yesterday at Otto. I think somewhere in the second quarter, third quarter, we put him in there. And he's he's kind of our swing guy. But I do like his demeanor. I like how he handles it. He's really sharp. I think if he can lock into Mike and play that position, then hopefully he'll progress even faster.
Was Thurston benched for performance at the Alamo yesterday?
Yeah, I think that we just felt like we needed more out of that position.
How do you think he responds to that now that he may be getting another shot?
Oh, I think he'll respond. He went in there, and it wasn't that he didn't play anymore. He was in there in goal line situations, so I think it's just more of a heightened awareness of what we expect out of that position.
How would yesterday's defensive struggles would you attribute to the coaching staff at all?
Well, I think that as a coaching staff, we're trying to figure it out. I mean, we ran 3-man, 4-man, 5-man, 6-man, different style of pressures, and we're trying to find out what works. And I think that we look at it and say, with that, is that taken away from us playing fast? And I think we had, 16 missed tackles yesterday. And I think that we're competing to try to figure out what works best for our guys. We've got some good players, and right now we're not playing fast. And I think that's what we need to take a look at more than anything.
How did it get this bad defensively? Like, how have you gotten in your third year to this point?
Well, you mean like what took place yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the ability to win on third down. That's a big part, because even in the red zone, we didn't win on third down on one occasion. So, that's the part that we're looking at. A lot of it has to do with tying those two together, the rush and coverage, and the different styles of pressures. The takeaways that we got yesterday were both on pressures. So we're looking at, we're saying, well, I think there was 2 pressures off of, we had the takeaways, and then there was, there's 13 pressures for 5 yards or less. And then there's 4 pressures for 152 yards. It's like one or the other, where it's hit and miss. And I think I mentioned that before when we were saying, hey Gus, how do you try to find pressure? How do you find ways to pressure the quarterback? Well, when you pressure the quarterback and you blitz, you're gonna come up with some big plays and you may give up some explosives. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening to us. And, the one just happened to be, at that point in time, I think we were up, 9 minutes left to go in the game, 32-28, and he runs an 87-yard touchdown run off of a pressure. That's can be damaging.
You continue to get nothing out of Branch and Clemens. What's your patience level with those 2 right now?
Yeah,
are you willing to continue to watch those?
Yeah, I can't argue that fact. I mean, when we're looking at the Leo spot, what we're getting out of the Leo the last couple of weeks, we need to try to find a way to get more. And however we do it, whether it's through pressure, through rotations, through looking at Chris Smith, through we just got to look at it to challenging me more, and we've got to find a way through us as a coaching staff, put them in a better position, straining, but you're right. I think overall the Leo spot, what we're hoping to get out of that position, we're not getting exactly what we want.
Realistically,
excuse me.
neither of those 2 guys are gonna be here next year, so why not make a move?
Well, I that's not my decision. I can't say
You
that.
determine who plays it.
No,
who's the
I mean as
starting
far as who's going to
Leo.
be here.
Well, but it's kind of obvious that neither of those guys is gonna be here.
Well,
next year.
I think for me, and for us as a coaching staff, is to find a way to get them to be more productive and find ways that we can be. And I know that's shop talk or however you want to say it, but you're right. We got to challenge them more, and if it's through competition or what, and Chris Smith did a good job, pretty good job last week. We got to continue to challenge him. He was not up this week for a variety of reasons, none due to him. Yeah, we got to get more production out of it.
Follow on that, the challenge to my house earlier this year, Gratz, other guys, free safety, moving the guys in and out, saying they need to respond to the challenge. Branch and Clemens continue to get a jersey and do absolutely nothing. Do you feel you risk alienating the rest
Well,
of the
I would say that it's not that they don't absolutely do nothing. They've done some good things in the run game. The pass game is where we haven't seen as much production as we need out of that. So, yeah, to challenge them in different ways, I mean, that's a conversation we'll have as a coaching staff, and talk to both of them and, really all of them. So, I mean, they're hurting just as much too. They want to try to find a way to become more productive. We were close on occasion, but we've got to find a way, whether it's through games, through, different alignments, things like that. We've got to find a way to get more production.
A couple of guys said that they were defensively, you were slow to line up at a couple of times yesterday. Did you notice that?
They did a lot of shifting, multiple man shifts, with 2 tight ends. So with that, without getting too much in the scheme, that causes us to readjust some things. So I would say the D-line, I thought, did a pretty good job. There was some at some other positions where we were a little bit slower.
Did that result in any big plays?
No, I didn't see it because of that. There was they had the running backs had 98 yards rushing. The quarterback had over 100 yards rushing. The quarterback was an issue for us yesterday.
Mariota did really well against the Raiders, against the blitz. What made you guys feel more comfortable blitzing against him this week?
Well, I think because we felt like we had to find a way to get pressure on them. Our sacks and our turnovers came off of pressure. And this game was no different. The 2 turnovers that we've got were both off of pressure. So it was a way to get the ball back for our offense.
The concussion stuff with Herman's, from the time you got here till the time now, how much more educated have you been in terms of when to expect these guys to be ready?
Well, I don't know if you can, when to expect them might be a hard, I don't know if I know the different stages and that you can have 2 of the stages done in one day. That part of the knowledge is, better, obviously, going through it. But everybody's different, and everybody's situation is handled different as far as when to expect them back.
So different patient, you've learned some patience with that, whereas before it was,
Yes.
5 days.
Yeah, I think that, first and foremost is the player's health. That's first and foremost. Number two, though, I would say is that going through the protocol isn't the same for everybody. Maybe that's how it was in the early stages. Now we're understanding, I'm understanding at least why it's different.
Would there be a benefit with 4 games left to see what Wash or Walker can do calling the defense and giving them that responsibility?
Well, I don't, like I said, when we go in there and meet as a defensive coaching staff, is to try to find ways to put our guys in better position to make plays. And whether it's through pressures, whether it's through different alignments, things like that, we're all going through the same battle. So it's not necessarily the call. That is, it's the same thing. We go up there, it's on the board, we kind of decide how we're going to do it and how we're going to go about it, and then you just got to play. I think it's, more that I don't think fundamentally we were as good as we have been in other games. The tackling issue, listen, I think we're, if not, one of the lowest teams in missed tackles. But I've seen it cleaned up the last couple of weeks, but it showed up again yesterday. And I don't know if we're at the team that we have defensively with adding more things. We've added more pressures. We've added more coverage concepts. I don't know if that's slowing us down. And because of that, if it's not allowing us to play fast, and by us not playing fast, you're seeing more missed tackles and missed assignments, and it's coming back to haunt us. I think that's more the issue.
Well, why does that play into the missed tackles? Because by then the guy has the ball and stuff.
But you might be out of leverage, you might be out of position. If you're supposed to be 2 yards outside the hash, you're 4 yards outside the hash, based on different concepts that you're doing, so it can put you in bad leverage.
How much of a concern was it for you yesterday when the Titans, who are not a particularly good running team, were able to just line up and just, all or nothing play and just basically score fairly easily? I mean, Paz had a little bit of a chance.
Yeah,
to get
on the goal line. You're talking about right
Yeah.
before the half. Yeah, they did a good job. They opened, we got cut on the backside. Our defense lineman got cut, and, that's part of it. But, you got a one-on-one tackle with Paz, but it shouldn't be one-on-one. Yeah, that was, what a opportunity there. It's one play, and you got to make that play. And they did it. They were more physical at that point than we were.
What have you done defensively that has worked? You said you've tried a lot of stuff. What is something you've done that has worked? And
Well, I think that, you're talking about the pass now, right?
yeah,
Okay. I would say that, some of our things, when you look at them, some of our man pressures and some of the things that we've done on third down, we've seen a higher percentage of success than other things we're doing. Our 3-man rush, where we brought pressure off the 3-man rush, that has been, the numbers look good. But our 4-man rush, that has not been where we needed to be, those
So,
numbers.
well, if it's not working, what's the detriment? I know that there's more risk when you blitz more, but if you're not getting anything out of the 4, what's the detriment to not rushing more, or to rushing more? You know what I mean?
You saw it yesterday.
Well, I know, but it's not working the other way. So
Well,
you
yeah,
gotta take more chances, though.
Yeah,
Right?
it was, I think in the first half, we were 6 for 7, they were 6 for 7 on third down. And in the second half, they were 2 for 6 in the second half. So some of the pressures, we got the sack cause fumble with Talbot, on a third down. That was good pressure, so there's benefit to it. And it was at a critical time, but they had the long run too. So you like to win some of them. Listen, there's going to be explosive plays that happen in a game. You're going to have a team in offense, it's the NFL. If you sit down and look, and the number of explosive plays, and it's growing by average across the league. So when you look at it, the team has 6 or 7 explosive plays, it can happen. It can happen in a game. Right now, I think we gave up 10 yesterday. That's too many. That's too many. And we've been keeping that number down somewhat, but now with 10, and some of those occurring on third down pressures, and, like I said, we tried 3, 4, 5. We're trying, different ways of creating issues for the quarterback, and they executed.
Have you looked at other teams that blitz more and whether they're giving up a higher percentage or a higher number of explosive plays than teams that don't?
Yeah, I think that if you would look at, yes, we have, to answer that question. I think what I found out is blitzing and pressure doesn't automatically equate to sacks. It doesn't happen that way. But what it does do is it does equate to more hits on the quarterback. That number jumps up when you look at it. What I've noticed with us is whether we 4-man rush or whether we bring pressure, we're still to the equivalent of where we would be if we, in the rankings. We brought 4-man rush, here's where we rank. We bring more pressure, we would still rank at that same spot. So it's not like if we go 4-man to bring pressure, we would jump up compared to most teams. We're still that team, but we do get more hits on the quarterback when we do that in percentage-wise.
As a general rule, if you have one, what do you consider a maximum number of explosive plays you would want your defense to give up and what you would want your offense to do?
Right. I think the general rule of thumb is offensively, if you would ask, they would say if they can get over 8. That number, I think, has grown. I think before you would say, 6 or less a couple of years ago. But I think the way the styles of offense are now, it used to be at the end of the season, 80 explosive plays in a year. You'd see a team win that explosive battle defensively with 80. That's not the case anymore. It's getting closer to 100.
How much do you trust Jason Myers at this point?
Well, I trust him in field goals. I think he's done a good job there. I don't know what his stat is. He's 22 of 26 22 of 26 in field goal attempts, and 85% somewhere in there. It's pretty good. I think compared to other people that have been here in their career, if he continues that would be a good number. But it's the extra point. His percentage is 79% on that. It drops. So that's the part that we need to get right.
I think
how
it's good.
much thought was there to, after the first one, you went for 2, how much thought was there to just keep going for 2 because you're not making them?
Nah, it wasn't much thought after that one what to do. That one, like I said, I think I admitted last night that the chart said to kick the extra point, but at that point in time, I just felt like our team needed a little bit of energy and momentum to go their way and to get it back to where it was tied.
NFL kickers missed 8 extra points total last season. There were 9 missed yesterday. 2 guys, including yours, missed 2. Have we reached a point where adjustments maybe have to be made in evaluation or analytics or even expectations that these aren't gimmies anymore?
Well, I think everybody understands that you don't take it for granted, or it's a play that I think everybody's paying more attention to, and it's changing how you call the game or the decisions you make in games, especially when you miss one. So I think it's what it was added to, or why it was implemented, was to create more of that in the game, and it has.
Do you like the rule change now that you've
Yeah,
had it
I'm
here?
good with it.
Do you think it's in his head?
No, I don't think so, because yesterday, he missed the one, his plant foot was wrong, and then the second one, we just, the whole snap procedure wasn't exactly what we had hoped.
Goes back to the defense. You've been trying all these different things. Are you concerned now? I mean, with 4 games to play, they're just, sometimes they're just not fixed to do what you want to do with it.
No. No, it's not that point. I'm just talking about yesterday, because we've shown some times when we've gotten some pressure, and sometimes it's based on the team. And so we can get it right. And those guys in there, they understand that, and they know we got to get it right. And affecting the quarterback, there's different styles of offenses that you played. We just weren't on our A game yesterday. We just weren't, defensively. I mean, even times that we normally do some things, you didn't see that on tape. You didn't see it in the game. And, that's the part that hurts.
You do know Tuesday or Wednesday whether you have pause? You think that you'll be told by then whether he's out?
Well, I don't know. Right now they're in discussions. He's meeting with the medical staff right now, so and whatever they share with me.
That discussion, so obviously he doesn't need surgery? Have you been told?
That's what he's meeting with them now.
How much would the cast restrict him? I mean, is it?
I guess it would depend on what kind of cast, and, is it a club, is it, I think right away you look at the tackling part of it, getting off blocks.
Where's Tripp bring to the table?
He's just, he's very knowledgeable, he picks things up really fast, very sharp, smart. The thing with us is we just haven't seen him play much. We see him play on special teams, but, in game situations behind the ball. We had him in the Senior Bowl. We watched tape on him when he was at Miami. But I think what we're impressed about is just how fast he's picked things up and just taking control of the huddle.
If he doesn't start, if Paz can play, will he start over Scooter at the outside? I mean, if Scooter's hurt too, will he start over Armbrister?
We'll discuss that. We'll talk about that. But he would not start over Scuda.
Yeah, I misspoke.
Yeah, that's all right.
What did you make of TJ yesterday in pass protection?
I thought he did really well. He did really well. I mentioned that earlier now. He did a good job running the ball, catching the ball, making people miss, and his protections. He had a really good day yesterday.
What have you learned about him this season?
Well, I think that, like we've mentioned before, that, you know, we thought we were getting a guy that would be a first and second down back. We'd hoped that he would come along as a third down back, and he's exceeded that expectation.
You put Gerhard on IR the other day, sort of a rocky 2 years here. Do you feel that first injury really set him back against Philly? Last
Well, I know he was frustrated. I know he's frustrated that he hasn't been completely healthy here during the regular season. And, you know, that part, I think he feels like he loves his team and the teammates. He wants to add to it, and he's not been completely healthy to do that. And that part is frustrating for him the last 2 years.
You said after wins and losses, including today, there are more plays moving out there, and we gotta get better at making them. Was the red zone yesterday the epitome of that, and why did it go so well for you?
Well, I just think that we executed. We said it's tight windows and quick decision-making, and I think that there was quick decisions made, and guys made plays. And, you know, it's too bad that, you know, there's some good and bad that it doesn't transfer on to the next week, right? It's a whole new challenge next week. Just like that's probably the good thing defensively. Hey, next week, it's a whole new week. And the team that comes out there and plays, you know, hopefully this right here spurs some discussion, makes some corrections, and we get back to playing at least how we're capable of playing. To me, that was the frustrating part of it, was that we weren't our best. We talked consistently about improving and being at our best, and we weren't.
Are you saying that defensive calls are okay, they're just not executing them well? Is that your message?
Well, no, I think we all take responsibility in it. You know, I think there's some things that we can do calls-wise defensively, and I think there's things that players can, you know, execute better. So it's a combination of things, but I understand what we're going through now when we're trying to do some different things to try to find a way to create pressure. You know,